And we will go through one of the most beautiful enchanted forests that I've ever walked in. And it's such a beautiful emerald green, feminine path, I would say. And the image that we actually have on the website, it really shows it, because it's also like it's a combination of serpentine and dragon energy and fairy energy. It's like all the elements are there, and even the trees are so feminine. If you look at the trees, there are so many yoni shapes on the trees.
Welcome to this episode, Sacred Travel Enthusiasts. I am so honored to make this a co-creative episode with my dear soul sister Yãna from Prima Yãna. And if you've been on here for a while, you know that she was actually the one interviewing me about my creation story for the Sacred Travel podcast. And I also encourage you to check out her episode, for she is really an excellent somatics and tantric priestess as well. So we are excited to share some great news with you. Yãna, you want to spill the beans?
Well, finally, after many moons of dreaming and weaving, we are putting together and we are hosting and we have opened the doors for our upcoming pilgrimage in Saint Baume in south of France, walking the lands of our beloved Mary Magdalene. And it is on the 21st to the 25th of May. It is an honor. It is soul calling. It has been something that has been in our wombs. I really believe, Julia, since we've met, it has been like the obvious. And finally, the time has come. So here we are.
Yes, here we are. So we are warmly inviting you to check out the link in the show notes. Going to be putting it there. And obviously also this episode is going to be about the south of France and the different threads that we find not only in the south of France, but that are bringing forward this Magdalene consciousness. And so Yãna just briefly mentioned, and I guess we can go a little bit more into the story of also how we actually met. So do you remember?
Well, we met on a program online with Emea, and I think like it was so natural. It was beyond, I mean, for me at least, I know it was like the connection was straight away, and you were the first person I believe I contacted directly. And I even told you, I remember that I was in Guatemala at the time, and I told you, actually, we have met before on one of these programs online. And you were like, no, we didn't. I'm like, yes, we did. But all that to say that it was a natural connection that has been already here and that just materialized. And we started weaving together as I was traveling. And we finally met physically in another special place and land when you were hosting your pilgrimage in Avalon, in Glastonbury. And yeah, despite some physical ailment and despite everything, I made it there because it was, again, another calling for us to reunite, I would say, on Magdalene lands. Yeah.
I love it. And it's really, I guess, what you're saying, when we have these, like these people from our soul tribe that we reconnect with in this lifetime, it really like goes beyond, and there's nothing that it could have ever been different in a way. And also I really love how this, I mean, for you even more than for me, because I would consider a digital nomad in a way, or like a nomad. So for all the codings that you are collecting and also bringing into our relationship and our exploration with the Magdalene consciousness, and obviously it's not only the Magdalene, it's more like the Magdalene Christ consciousness. to be precise, because it's always the both and how we weave that together. And it's true. I almost neglected like the Avalon part, but that's where there were a few of the coatings also seated. And then last summer, we traveled to a couple of places in France together. So that was kind of like our personal pilgrimage. And it was just like this very pivotal moment for me, where we were in Vézelay, which is one of these places with a Magdalene Basilica, but it is on the Camino de Santiago, but it is actually lesser known, I would say, a lesser known pilgrimage place. And when we stepped out of the cathedral, and we had spent a good amount of time in the crypt, actually, like both of us were in such an altered state and like high state. It was really just something beyond this world. And both of us, like we couldn't get ourselves to ground again. That was really something. And also it's, to me, it just like again shows over and over the potency of being in such a place, like physically exposed to the codes, but then also having really someone with you who is sharing this resonance field. And so it was so amplified. I don't know how this was for you.
Yeah. I think I do remember I think we tried even like all the somatic practices, like come back to the body, come back to the body, and we would just be sitting. And I mean, the whole the as you said, the place by itself is magical, and the energetics of the place are beyond. But the co-weaving and being in presence of other people who, even if we don't have exactly the same experience, but we are in the same consciousness, I would say, it just makes the experience so magical. And I feel this is why, like, I know both of us individually are pilgrims on Gaia, but this is where it's also like this beautiful calling that came to, you're already doing it to bring people with us to these lands, and through these lands connect to different lands as well.
Hey, everybody, if you are enjoying the show, then you would do me the biggest favor in clicking the subscribe button and engaging with my content so I can continue to deliver these beautiful conversations to you. Thank you so much. And I feel also, in a way, the episode that we recorded for you, it doesn't necessarily speak to it, but it does speak to it because it's really this tapestry that we are holding in the body, almost like it's an entire map in itself. And so when we travel to these places, it's like something cracks open in different parts of us. And then there is a next thread, a next information to like, oh, this is where you need to go next. And this is where that there is something waiting, like key codes for you as a piece of the bigger puzzle. And this other, that just leads me to that other, story that when we were traveling and we were on that pilgrimage last summer and we were in Paris one day or one night actually before going to Chartres, which is like a whole Sophia consciousness place in itself. I had this massive, massive dream that really shook me up and is a bigger, like gave me a bigger piece of my mission. And I shared it with you in the morning. And I had no idea where to start because there was like specific things that I heard, and it was connected to the Magdalene nodes and dragon nodes on the planet and how they need to be reunited in order for also these codings in the earth that have been planted and seeded by Mary Magdalene, by Yeshua, and by all of the ones that walk this lineage before, so they can come back and they can almost like be freed and put into the ethers. And there was like the specific thing that I heard with the wheels within wheels, and I told you about it. And just so naturally, like you reach in your suitcase and you hand me that book, and it's like, oh, you might want to read this. Like, I think this is helpful. And I look at it, and I, like, honestly, the first page that I open, it literally says like wheels within wheels. And I'm like, what the F? Like, what is happening? You can't make these things up. And so there is, I guess I also want to say, like, it can be very, very powerful to travel on your own. But what we are really stepping more and more into, and I feel this is a very important part in this exploration of the Magdalene consciousness, is really the community aspect, and or almost like the soul tribe aspect, and not doing it alone, because everybody has a piece. And then in sharing and in bringing this forward and expressing, somebody else can chime in and say, oh, this is the missing link.
Yes. Yes, fully. It is like these different wheels within the wheels, and where they are united and uniting, and there are these, like, the way I'm seeing it now, there are also like these places of intersection where, and this is where Maryam is so alive for me, and this is what I feel on one of my pilgrimages she instilled in me, is discernment. Is each one of us has, as you said, part of the puzzle. Each one of us is also relating to the puzzle in their own filter, in a way, and with compare according to their own experiences, our backgrounds, etc. And what is beautiful is she coming in and bringing in this discernment, which is, for me, at least, all her teachings, it is coming back to the inner knowing, what resonates with you, what is alive with you. So I feel like, and the two of us are very much aligned on that, is that we can share all the stories, we can share all the backgrounds, all what comes, and then comes this piece of the inner knowing. And this is actually what I feel we want to, we are, this is the frequency and the energies that we are putting in our pilgrimage as well, is to bring this to life in each woman who is joining us, in order to get to touch her inner knowing and what resonates with her, and in that, what is her truth, what is her truth. Yeah.
I guess you nailed it, because one of the themes that came up for both of us when we were curating this pilgrimage is really, to know her is to know thyself, right? And I would love for you to share a little bit about your own connection to Mary Magdalene, and specifically also the lands of your lineage and like your heritage that, you cracked open inside of you.
Mhm. So I am Lebanese of origin, and I come from this little country next to another little country called Palestine, where Maryam comes from. And Lebanon is also a land where she walked, and she has always been present without really being present, if it makes sense. And today, as I was tuning in, I realized she has also been present at home with this, at my grandparents' home, actually, with this. I posted it once, this beautiful image of her that we always thought was Mary, Mother Mary. And then one day I look at her and I look at my aunts and I tell them, this is not Mary, this is Mary Magdalene. And without even, without even debate, we're like, oh, yes, yes. And it was like this scene where she is stepping forward with a lot of joy and excitement, and you can feel it in all her being, where she was actually announcing the resurrection of Yeshua. And this brings me to, of course, I left Lebanon when I was 20 years old, and I made my way in France. And I mean, I connected with her in different ways, but what's alive for me today was one moment in my life, end of 21, beginning of 22, where I had already been initiated in her knowing and through her, but I've never been on these lands in south of France. And actually, I didn't really knew about them. And there was this moment where we could say, you can call it this dark night of the soul, or like I was going through a very rough time. And I looked at the map and I was like, I'm leaving my home. I'm going somewhere. I want to go to south of France. And just like that, I checked this place that's called Les Saintes Maries de la Mer. And I went there. I think this is a time where she has been where she presented herself in the most potent and powerful way, to an extent where I was like, I need to research more. I need to know more of her. And why here? Why is it? Because I never did the connection. And then I realized that this is actually this was, I would say, the gateway where she and the other Marys came from Palestine to south of France as refugees. And from there, they made the whole tribe made their way into different parts of France, and then other parts also of Europe. And then this allowed me, I want to say, to go back to my lands, like to the lands I come from, not my lands, to the lands I come from, and connect with her in different ways. Connect with her. And this only happened after, I'm sorry if I'm going into too much details, but after I had an accident and I broke my foot. And I broke my foot when I was in our Rose Priestess path, when I was in the temple of Mary Magdalene. And for me, it was a very big initiation of embodiment. If you know how we say, she is the bridge. She is fully divine and she is fully human. And in my spiritual journey, I was more like we all tend to want to be doing. Like we want to, of course, we love connecting with the divine part of us, and then we forget a little bit the earthy part of us. And that was a reminder, like you are fully human as well, and you are the bridge. And this is where, with a healing foot, I went back to the Middle East and I learned to walk again my way, and I would say the way on these lands. And I just want to read something, as I mentioned, Sainte Marie de la Mer, and it's something I had shared with you, Julia, just the day after what came to me there, because I went there and I was expecting, when I went actually to the church another time, I was expecting to see her, and I didn't really see her. And again, like how we want to see things and how she is presenting herself. And the message that came through, we are all the Marys. The name doesn't matter. We are on the path of knowing thyself. And I hadn't realized that this was written, because we came, like the title of our pilgrimage has come to us very naturally, like to know thyself. and And then today I opened my notebook, like, oh, it's here. It has been there. To know thyself, you discover the different archetypes, revealing Gnosis, revealing Sophia. Don't overwhelm yourself with stories. They all lead to the same place. Yeah.
I love it. And, there is also, I think it's in Megan Watterson's book, I believe, in the very beginning, where she talks about the nous, which in French means we. And in Greek, it's very much connected to the gnosis and like the connection of the mind-heart axis of like truly knowing yourself, which also speaks to that discernment that you mentioned. And that's the heart of this Vesica Pisces shape that is also very much connected to Mary Magdalene. And so no matter what angle we come from, it like all leads us into the center point of the heart. And that's where I also feel for this pilgrimage that we are curating. It's very much an exploration of really being that bridge, because you so gracefully embody or bring in that embodiment part, and really this walking the earth with this love. And for me lately, it's been more of the exploration of that, what I call kind of like star walking qualities, and how it was all the Marys were these like high initiated priestesses from other star nations, Pleiades, etc., that came down to deliberately plant and seed a certain consciousness at that time for us now to retrieve it. So if you're listening to this, if you have a calling, then you're part of it. So don't neglect it. And that's one thing that I want to bring in. And when you are joining us on this pilgrimage, you will also be initiated into the Magdalene Reiki level 1. And in these teachings, it is very much about this, what we call the triple flame. So again, like the womb flame, the third eye flame, and the heart flame. And it's this Merkaba shape. So there is this initiation that like comes down through the crown and the third eye to land in the heart. And then there is this initiation process that is coming. It's more like the Kundalini practices that is coming from the base and like bottom up. And again, where both of them meet is in the heart. And that's where the gnosis takes place. And so I'm really excited to also dive into these teachings, while at the same time we are going to be exploring the caves, the peaks, the waters. So it's really this outer journey that mirrors the inner, or the inner that mirrors the outer. Like no matter you want to toss and turn it, this is the place of the pilgrimage where you realize that everything that is happening, it is a reflection of what you hold, like the consciousness level that you hold inside.
Yes, I'm so excited for this, because I'm also so excited for the combination of the two of us, and this is also what Maryam is. She is this, as we said it, like you can be in your different ways. You can approach me from different ways, and then you are in any way. It is all the roads are leading to the same place. And as you were talking, the above, from the above and below, I feel this is also fully a reflection of the place we are going to, because this is what Saint Baume is. It is like we are starting from the earth. We are starting from the downer cave, I would say, and then we are journeying up. Literally, we will have to walk every day around 45 minutes up and then 45 minutes down. And again, like we are connecting on the top of the mountain, and then we are coming back. And every time we are meeting in the center, we are meeting in the cave. And whether we are doing this through our practices, through the teachings, through embodiment practices, it is truly a combination of all. Yeah.
So let's give people a deeper understanding of what's actually happening. What are the main points that we have in store for this pilgrimage?
Do you want me to start? Do you want me to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So we will be, and I will just be giving where we will be going, and not really giving the order of it, because the two of us agree that we will arrive there and we will be guided. And, of course, we have a framework, and, like this journey ascending and the journey descending, but we fully trust that she can come with her cloak and tell us, yeah, you do this today and you do that. But what's beautiful, and why Saint Baume is known, already the basilica, which is called Saint Maximin, is known for holding the relics of Mary Magdalene. And there's a beautiful crypt underneath the basilica where there is kind of a reconstitution. This is where it is believed that her skull is. And this is for me is like the the womb. Her presence is very much tangible. Some people say it is not her, it might be another Maryam. But again, we are guiding you there for you to experience for you to have your own experience. And then we would move to the mountain, and we will go through one of the most beautiful enchanted forests that I've ever walked in. And it's such a beautiful emerald green, feminine path, I would say. And the image that we actually have on the website, it really shows it, because it's also like it's a combination of serpentine and dragon energy and fairy energy. It's like all the elements are there, and even the trees are so feminine. If you look at the trees, there are so many yoni shapes on the trees. And so we will journey up to the main cave, where it is believed that Maryam had spent. It is said that she had spent the last years of her life in a kind of retreat, and she was nourishing herself from the elements of the earth. And it's a multi-layered cave where, again, all the elements are present. Water is present. You can feel at the same time the warmth and the cold. I really cannot explain the feeling that you have there. And on top of this place, we will ascend, and it is said that every day angels would come, and I love the vision of that. Angels would come and transport her and elevate her to the top of the mountain, this place that is called Le Pillon, where it is believed that she would unite with her beloved. She would unite with Yeshua 7 times a day. And
wow.
and and in that place, I believe, for my own experience, this is where, for the first time in my personal experience, I really got to know what is sacred union. Not to frame your experience when you are joining us, but you talked about this galactic presence. You talk about this crystalline presence. This is where it is truly felt, and it is felt really out in the wild, because there is nothing. We're not going inside, like neither a cave or anything. We are in the wild, in the open, and this is one of the places that cracks you open, literally. And there is a little mystery cave that is called the Yoni Cave, which I believe we will have one of our beautiful sacred ceremonies as well. And you will see it on the website. It is truly a little cave where we will have to make our way, and that would be like a little adventure to go in, going truly in the womb. And I believe this is where we will be having our womb activations as well. And then a little bit outside of this sacred mountain, I don't know if you want to talk about the rivers, the sources, les sources de nom.
Sure. So, I mean, I'm very much connecting to the archetype within Mary Magdalene and within myself, where it's about the oil priestess, about the sacred water priestess. And so everybody is talking about the age of Aquarius and water as a bringer of information, water as a bringer of new consciousness. And so it is said that in these waters, that when her ministry flourished there, that she would bring people to baptize and just like cleanse themselves in these sacred waters. So and I mean, imagine like all this energy that Yãna just shared about this area and the mountain, and it's a natural spring. So this water like is literally has picked up all the information and all the codings that are in the minerals, that are in the mountain, that are in these lands. And so it is perceived very, very sacred and also to have healing properties. So yeah, I'm excited to have a little water ceremony there.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of like what is happening on the outer planes. And then maybe if we transition into the inner, and of course we can never know, but what we do know also from personal experience that with your yes, you actually do open the alchemical portal within you, and it's probably not just one, it's more, where really a transformation happens from inside out. And as we were talking about the heart is really that space where this frequency of unconditional love resides. And I want to really, I want you to feel into the frequency, because for a lot of us, love is kind of like that concept that exists outside of us. But what it truly, truly is, it's a vibration that is really alive within your heart and within all of your cells. And so when you can access that, just as Yãna has described so beautifully, that sacred union, it's something that really cracks you open and transcends any concept or any ideology that you have and hold in your life of how love has to look like. And so it is basically just like you become that frequency, and there is no other way than just permeating that in alignment with what I call your soul blueprint, which is just, a magnitude in itself. And so opening these or speaking to these triple flame teachings is also coming back to Maryam as a teacher. So there is these teachings that lie deep inside of us, but it's not something, again, that is like a concept or kind of like an abstract way, but it actually manifests in the day-to-day, like how you show up towards your partner, your kids, and your work. So all of this and all of the transformation that happens is going to be informing the way that you show up in your life. And to be able to do that like with more alignment and consciousness, to really be, because you are that already. You've been that all along. If you know it, that it resides within you, it's just sometimes it needs this little activation in a way of also to feel safe, to fully claim it and to fully embody it, and like become this water bearer, become this watchtower.
Yes, fully, fully. She's she's the way of the heart. She's the way of and from the heart, as you said, it's it's the way of the voice. And you put it beautifully, Julia. Is like this: we are activating this in order to be in our daily life, and in order to feel our truth, in order to speak our truth, and in order to fully embody the path. And for me, this is what is sacred revolution, right? Like, this is what has been waiting for us. This is, as you said, like these seeds that are planted. I know that in many of, the Magdalene spheres, like, we talk about her as the victim or the one who has been persecuted, etc. But for me, it doesn't resonate, because she is unconditioned love. She is the way of love. And when I say the way, it doesn't mean like there is one way. It is like this union of ways where all of us also are welcome. So, and I'm saying that to extend this to anyone who is listening to us, who maybe is feeling like, oh, I am not that advanced on my path, or I am curious, or I don't know anything about her or of this path. All of us are welcome on her path, because it is the path of inner knowing. It is the path of she's teaching us to know ourselves, and this is what, and it's a big task, but this is what you and I will be conveying as well in this in this 4 days 5 nights journey. It's just giving you tools for you to start uncovering the truth within, for you to start seeing facets of yourself that maybe you haven't encountered, or you encountered, and as you said, Julia, like you didn't feel safe, so we shut the door. So it's fully embodying this. It's also giving you tools to integrate this and to take this into your daily life. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And, you know, again, like to the understanding part, I want to say maybe there is this deep tendency to always understand or kind of like have to know, where are we going? What are we doing? And like be informed about Mary Magdalene or the place. And that doesn't have to be. Like, I've had so many women already after kind of like the first post on the pilgrimage reach out, because these codes are working you from inside out, and just trust that. And no matter if you're coming along or if you don't, just trust that these codes are working within you. So if there is at least some resonance that you're feeling, if you know that this is for you, that the thread is already there, the seed has already been planted, and it is in your own divine timing when you decide that you want to really fully open and embrace this connection. And so there is definitely no right or wrong. And as Yãna said, it's, yeah, we are offering as these, I want to say, like guides and facilitators, tools, but we also want to deliberately keep it open, because I feel that in the past 2,000 years, like from when she walked the earth as this physical being, still highly, initiated and like conscious of her path. But there has been so much distortion, and even within the spiritual community and even within the priestess lineage, there has been some sort of maybe pedestalizing her, which, if you truly connect to that frequency inside, this is not what it's about. And it's coming back again and again, over and over, into this discernment, and again into this part of the gnosis. And to know her is to know thyself. So because she's this archetypal frequency that lives inside of you, and when you connect to this and kind of like unlock the keys to allow this frequency to come out, there are so many doors that open. There are so many taglines that open, and there are so many taglines that fall away. So, yeah, I guess I just want to say that we warmly welcome you on this trip if you feel the calling.
Yeah, thank you for saying this, Julia, because it's reminded me of like when you were talking, all what I was saying, like we're just activating ourselves to be the vessels, and this is what we are, and this is how I feel like she presented herself and defined herself. In one of the times where she came to me, she was like, and talking to these distortions also that were made by her name. She said, like, have you ever heard me or Yeshua, as a matter of fact, say this is mine, this is my ministry, this is my way of doing? No, we are a vessel. I am a vessel, and all of you are a vessel. And I feel just to say, for every woman who has been on her journey, who has been curious also to connect with the divine feminine within her, and also with the divine masculine, and this bring in this reconciliation between the divine feminine and masculine, this will be a beautiful platform for that, as we will be holding the energy of the both. And this is where I would say, like, also the tantric element is coming in through our practices, through the breathing, through also the Magdalene Reiki, as you talked, Julia, about like activating this Kundalini energy. And this is what it is. It is this sacred union between the two, for us to be vessels for whatever we came here to do. Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Do we have any
don't
other?
feel
Yeah.
that there is much to add to that. Maybe also just to speak to the logical mind about the logistics. I mean, we have an amazing venue. We have such a beautiful villa all by ourselves. And it's not even a villa because there is also a huge pool. We also have an entire garden with like a yoga deck and a water cascade and all different little spots where you can also find time to rest and integrate, because that's another part for both of us that is very important. The trip overall, yes, we're going to be going to these places and we are going to be doing things, but in order for this to really land in your body, it takes time to integrate and it takes time to rest and just be. And so we're not like, we don't have a pace like this. We consciously created it in a very spacious way for you to sit with the codes and also to let them unfold within you. Yeah, and so there's this beautiful spacious villa. There is a lot of different room options. So I'm quite happy also with the way how we are able to present this to different budgets and different travel preferences. So check that out it's on both of our websites. We're going to be linking it. It doesn't matter where you want to sign up. And we have an amazing...
Yeah, they all go to the same place.
They go to the same place. Totally. Yes, we have an amazing chef, which is every day cooking for us organic and local vegetarian food. And I also feel like one last thing that I really want to mention is the sisterhood and the community, because I feel that especially for this coming together in the exploration of the feminine dynamics, it is very, very important to really have this space of trust and nourishment that we create. You want to add anything to that?
I just want to say that the pilgrimage starts when you are saying your sacred yes.
Oh, yes.
and we are also like preparing the way for that. So we will be having preparation call. We will have a group where we will be also introducing ourselves. So you won't be arriving to the pilgrimage and feeling like, where am I landing? You will already be in safe space, and we will have our integration call after the pilgrimage, of course. And I believe the journey continues. It doesn't end like this. Actually, the journey starts. This is where the journey starts. Yes.
So much. I feel full. And yeah, just once again, we are so excited to welcome you. And should you have any questions, concerns, comments, please feel free to reach out to either of us, and we can hop on a call and we can just discuss, and really want you feel ready with all your human aspects to also follow the soul calling and give that full body yes, because we also know that there's, of course, practicalities with family and your life that you have to sort out.
Well, looking forward to see you. And thank you, Julia, for opening your platform for this.
Well, how could I not? How could I not? Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. And once again, if you feel this Magdalene thread and the key codes already working you, then please reach out to us. If not for this time, then for sure it's not going to be the last travel experience that we're offering. And as always, stay curious and continue to escape the ordinary. See you next time.